And we are live. Welcome to the Podcast Perplexium, Corey Bloom.
Glad to be here.
So, we met in South Florida back in 2011. Both of us went to college at FAU in Boca Raton. So, I'm from New York, and you're from New Jersey, right?
Yep.
So, first question, what brought you down to Florida? How did you get the opportunity to leave New Jersey? And because a lot of people have a dream of going to school in a place like Florida, coming from the Northeast, but many never realize that dream, never actually make it happen. So how did you get to do that?
Well, I was actually born in Florida. I lived there until I was about 8 years old, and then moved to New Jersey with my mom and my brother after my parents' divorce. So my dad was still there, my brother and sister were still there, and I wanted to get away from New Jersey because I had, high school shit, I'm not allowed to curse on here, right?
No, you can say whatever you want.
Okay.
It's totally free.
So I went through, bad breakup in high school, and it basically just made me want to go as far away from New Jersey as I could. And Florida, I already had like a support system there, and my dad could help me out and all that stuff. So I just decided to go to FAU. I applied to two other colleges, I think, in Florida. USF was one of them, but FAU, had a good program, and I got accepted, so I went down there, and the rest is history. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, Corey brought these Nova kombucha. I have peach passion fruit. Which one do you have?
I have sexy pina colada.
So, I love these. Corey, thank you for bringing these. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Happy to have you as my second guest.
I've always watched the, Joe Rogan and Jocko podcast. I never thought I'd be on one myself, so this is different.
Those are two that I enjoy as well. Jocko Willink is actually in San Diego.
Yeah, you told me you met him, right?
I did.
Yeah.
When I moved here.
Intense dude.
He's an intimidating guy.
Yeah.
Friendly, of course, though.
Yeah.
If you want to meet him.
Trying to come out here in a few years to be stationed out here, and if I do, I'd like to go to that gym, see what it's like. Meet him probably.
Because you also train Jiu Jitsu, or you started Jiu Jitsu, right?
Yeah. I started about, say, 3 years ago, but I did it for about a year, and then I paused because of stuff at work, time and all that, and finally came back to it about a few months ago. But nature of the job, I can only do it so often, so I'm trying to get back into it. I don't think I'll be as consistent as you are, of course, but I'm trying to get there. So,
what made you decide to start training jiu-jitsu?
So I have this goal for myself, and it's during the course of my life, or at least semi long-term, short-term goals, learn a martial art, learn a new language, and learn an instrument. And martial arts, jiu-jitsu, I've heard is not as damaging to your body, but it's also it's like a mental game too. It's like you're trying to solve a puzzle while you're doing it. And it's also very useful because most fights end up on the ground, and knowing what to do when you're on the ground is pretty important. So that's why jiu-jitsu, I gravitated towards that. And I enjoy it so far. It's also humbling.
Definitely.
Having people that are 50 pounds less than you, not as muscular as you are, like completely surprise you by like folding you into a pretzel. It makes you sit back and think, all right, maybe I'm not as much of a badass as I think I am. So it's a good thing to do if you want to humble yourself.
I think that's a great trio of goals to have. You said learn a new language, learn a musical instrument, and then the third one you said martial art.
Yeah.
Learn a martial art. Okay, so I have to ask about the other two.
Yeah.
So first of all, have you started to begin either of those other two?
I've started multiple times with both, and it's hard for me to stick to something. For instruments, I remember I got a keyboard because I was thinking about learning the piano, but much to my wife's dismay, like the keyboard that I got is literally just sitting in the house gathering dust. I keep telling myself I'm going to do it, but it's, I'll get there eventually.
Sure.
But piano is one of them. I was also thinking of learning either bass or guitar or something like that. And as for language, I was thinking of either learning Russian or actually committing to learning Hebrew. Because you started out the first 13 years of your life at least going to Hebrew school, and after I had my bar mitzvah, I just fell off the wagon. So
I should mention, I think one of the reasons why Corey and I kicked it off so quickly is because we both share being Jewish, and I have tons of non-Jewish friends, but there's something about both having that in common. I don't know, it's like you kind of know what each other are thinking.
Shared experiences, shared culture.
So for the people who might be watching the video, you might notice some of Corey's tattoos. Corey, is it okay if I ask you about any of your tattoos?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so you've got a couple going on your right arm. Tell us what.
So my first tattoo on my right arm, on the forearm, is a Hebrew phrase, Leolam Laod, which in Hebrew means never again. I got it when I was 18. Basically got it because I realized that there was a solid portion of my family that unfortunately were killed during the Holocaust. And I found out, and it gave, it brought up like a lot of anger in me and resentfulness and all that. And I just decided to put this on my arm to like tell myself and the world, like, while there's a breath in my body, I will never let this happen again to our people. So I put that on me, just so I could look at it, and it reminds myself and other people, what I stand for. The star is basically just reinforcing that even more.
I love that tattoo, Corey.
Yeah,
that's my favorite. I can't help but when I think Corey Bloom, I think of that Star of David tattoo. It's iconic.
It was a pretty bold statement when I got it.
I love it.
Yeah, of course my mom was like very nervous, very upset when I got it, because she was just afraid for, she's a mom, she was afraid for my safety.
Sure.
So I'm basically painting a target on myself, unfortunately. In certain places of the world, depends on the people you're around.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, but I just realized, I don't care. Like, I am who I am. I'm not gonna let people scare me into changing who I am. So,
you know what? For a long time, I was wearing a Star of David necklace. I was wearing it every day, and for years.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I no longer wear it is because of Jiu Jitsu, actually. I just got too annoyed with having to constantly take it off and put it back on, and take it off and put it back on.
Yeah.
So. Kudos to you, man. Like I said, it's my favorite. I love that tattoo.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I think another reason why we were such fast friends is probably our shared appreciation of music.
Yeah.
So Corey, what kind of music have you been listening to lately?
I'm not gonna lie, I focus mostly on the classics, like hard rock, 60s, 70s, and 80s, 90s, all that, like just basically all hard rock. I've been on a big Van Halen kick lately, so I've been listening to all their music. I'm actually reading a book about them right now, which is really interesting. AC/DC being my favorite band, but that I don't restrict myself to classic rock, like I'll listen to classical music. That's also how you and I connected, through classical music, so I'll listen to that. It just depends on what my mood is. If you actually like look at what I listen to, it can like shift from like classic rock to like hip hop, 80s hip hop, 80s pop music, classical music. It's all over the place, even like soundtracks. What about you? What are you listening to lately?
Myself, I've been on a big 80s kick.
Yeah.
Also synthwave.
Oh yeah, I love synthwave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been really enjoying all the different Spotify playlists that people make with their own synthwave cover albums. I love it.
It's interesting, like people our age that weren't even alive during the 80s, like have such a nostalgia for a time that we weren't even alive in.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I mean, I was born in the early 90s, and so I never got to experience the 80s, but I feel it somehow.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, I like Flume. I was listening to his latest album. Flume, yeah. You ever heard of him?
No, is he a synthwave artist?
He's not synthwave. He's I would classify him as a modern electronic music maker. Very experimental. But he released the new album Palaces, and I've been listening to it. I don't like it as much as the mixtape that he put out. Hi, this is Flume.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one. But I was listening to some of the songs earlier. Every now and then I'll put on Eminem, Pandora.
Yeah.
On my way to Jiu Jitsu.
Getting you in the mood.
Get me in the right headspace.
Yeah. I've noticed, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to like back when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I don't want to listen to that. It's that genre of music. I'm not gonna like any of that. It's like, I feel like one thing I've become more and more appreciative of is other genres. Like, I've been like getting into, one thing I never thought I would do is get into country music. But there's some country artists that are really good.
For sure.
Like Chris Stapleton. I just saw him last night. Chris Stapleton is amazing, but he also does like every type of genre. He can do anything, like soul music, blues, country, hard rock.
I think being from the Northeast, the culture up there, we don't pay attention to country music growing up as kids. I remember when I came to Florida,
tailgates.
It was a bit of a culture shock when I went to a house party for the first time, and 1 minute they're playing Lil Wayne, and then the next minute Take Me Home Country Roads comes on, and everyone knows the lyrics.
Right. Even I feel like that's like one of those songs, like,
you know what? Everyone does know that song.
Yeah, it's like even people who don't listen to country, like they see that, they hear that song and their ears perk up. It's like, oh yeah, okay.
Okay. Wagon Wheel.
Yeah, that was the one.
Wagon Wheel. I remember that. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a single favorite musical artist of all time?
You mean like single musician or like a band?
Let's do both. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
Well, I mean, my favorite band is AC/DC. I'd say favorite single musician might be Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails.
right.
Yeah.
My sister loves Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
She talks about him a lot.
Yeah, so, I mean, AC/DC, Nine Inch Nails, it's like, talk about, like, completely different sound, but, I don't know, something about Trent Reznor is, he has such a thing with, like, just, like, sound, you know, he just used all these different musical instruments, things you wouldn't even think are instruments. Like, I'm not much, like, I don't know much about musical theory or anything like that, but there's something that he does that's, like, so unique, you know?
I just recently learned that Hurt by Johnny Cash is
A cover?
a cover of Hurt from Trent Reznor.
Yeah.
You knew
Yeah.
that already.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So-
wild.
Yeah, so when that song came out, like at first apparently, like when they told him Johnny Cash was going to cover his song, he was kind of like ambivalent to it, like. But when he actually heard it and like, he realized like, okay, that's it, that's Johnny Cash's song now. Because
Yeah.
like Johnny Cash sang that song at a, like the song when he sings it and the song when Trent Reznor sang it is two completely different meanings.
For
Like Johnny
sure.
Cash was towards the end of his life and he was reflecting on his past life and his past mistakes and everything, and it meant something different, but it really worked. And he heard that and he's like, "Yep, that song's his now." So that's pretty cool.
Aside from music, I would say another thing that you and I have in common is our appreciation for good cinema,
Yeah.
good film.
Yeah,
I remember some of my first introductory moments to Quentin Tarantino films happening in your freshman
dorm room.
dorm room. Yeah. At the time, I think I'd only seen one of his films, but after freshman year, I probably saw all of them in your dorm room. So I have to ask you, favorite Quentin Tarantino film?
I'd say it's pretty, standard answer, but Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I'd say a very close second being Inglourious Bastards. But yeah, Pulp Fiction.
Is he your favorite director?
Yeah, I'd say he's my favorite.
Cool.
Very unique.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Corey, let's do a check-in. How are you feeling right now?
I'm good. A little tired. Had a long night last night, but yeah, I'm feeling good.
Cool.
How are you doing?
Same. I'm enjoying this kombucha.
Yeah. Honestly, before I came out here, I never even knew this was a thing.
Kombucha?
Not kombucha, but hard kombucha.
Right. Do you miss South Florida?
Yeah. I miss it. I mean, like weather-wise, I live in paradise right now, but weather-wise, it was pretty nice. Being next to my dad and my brother and sister was good. Being that close to family. And just familiarity. You spend like, over 10 years in a place, you grow connected to it. So, yeah, I definitely miss it.
I do too. I'm enjoying San Diego though.
Yeah, I like San Diego.
You miss FAU?
Oh yeah, I mean, just college. I just miss college. Just like the worries you have in college, when compared to like real life, it's just so minuscule. It's like, oh no, I got to write this paper. It's like, grand scheme of things, you're still in college. You're what, like 19, 20 years old. You got your whole life ahead of you. It's just so simple, Being an adult is complicated.
Yeah.
just being able to hang out with your friends, like all being in one area, you know. It's just, I don't know. It's such a simpler time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So other than the keyboard and maybe the bass guitar, do you have any other talents that you wish you had?
Well, one thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to start free diving and spearfishing. Like one usually goes to the other. Mm-hmm. So when I get back to Hawaii, I signed myself up for a free diving class. Try to get over my fear of open ocean, of deep water, and you know, dive in, you know, and get comfortable, you know, going into the water for long periods of time, and then ultimately doing the spearfishing, catch my own food.
Have you snorkeled?
I've snorkeled before. It's fun, especially in Hawaii. It's beautiful, you know, some of the greatest snorkeling places in the world.
Any particular memories that really stand out from snorkeling?
I'm not gonna lie, like not really.
I have one that I really remember above all the others. It was in Cozumel, Mexico, and I was with my dad, and they had this reef where it was set up in kind of a circle, and they told us not to venture too far past the reef on the outer edge. But my dad and I, we ventured a little further out, and when we kept swimming out there, we encountered a barracuda.
Oh,
and
no.
It was a big barracuda too.
Yeah.
And it just was like sitting there. It was just floating there, like staring at us.
It's like that scene in Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
That part freaked me out as a kid. Mm-hmm. Seeing that barracuda just sitting there, like staring at. Oh no.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what happened. And so it actually came up next to us, and my dad was looking at me, giving me hand signals to basically just chill, like don't freak out, don't make like sudden movements. But my dad was telling me to look. Mm-hmm. And the barracuda came to our side, and the eye was huge, and it just gave us that side eye, and it was a spiritual moment.
Yeah,
you know, because it was like communicating to us just through its eye, you know. And then it left us alone. It was
basically saying, like, if I wanted to, I can fuck your day up right now.
yeah. He was kind of like, hey, this is my home.
Yeah,
you know,
you're just a guest here.
Yeah, and then he just carried on and peeled off, and we turned around and went back. But I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a list here of completely random questions, even though I think we've already been doing that.
Yeah.
Just kind of going off, monkey branching in whichever direction the conversation has been taking us. But let's go for some.
All right.
By the way, we are at, let's see here. So we're at 25 minutes. So yeah, let's go a little further.
Okay.
Okay. Human beings going to Mars, colonizing Mars. Elon Musk's mission to do so. How do you feel about this?
I think it's really fucking cool. That's what I think about it. Yeah, I mean, that's like, you know, the ultimate like science fiction goal, right? Is to colonize other planets, just, you know, spread out humanity. I think it's really cool that somebody like that has so many resources is like wants to do that. Because, like, you know, is there much, like, right now, is there like much money to be gained by doing that? Like, even when he was like making SpaceX, right? Like he was probably like losing a lot of money. The fact that he wants to do that and spread humanity out amongst the stars, I think is really commendable. I mean, people would argue that, you know, we should focus on the Earth first, but my thing is, why can't we do both? You know, like if we want to like colonize Mars and eventually colonize other planets and stuff like that, I think that's a cool thing to do.
Would you go?
Would I go to Mars?
Yeah.
If I wouldn't be like the first colony, but I mean, if I was alive during a time when it was like a common thing, yeah, I'd go to Mars, absolutely. But I don't know if I'd want to stay there. I guess it depends on how good the amenities on Mars are, how good the food is. Yeah.
Do you know what lucid dreaming is?
Is that like very detailed, bright, colorful dreams and stuff? Or is that like influenced by drug? Like what?
Yeah, so a lucid dream is when you have a dream where, while in the dream, you realize that you're dreaming, and then essentially you take control of the dream itself. So you have self-control. Yeah. But you can also control the surroundings. You can completely control the story of the dream. And you know, you can essentially pause it like a movie and say, I'm going to just fly away right now. Yeah. If that's what you wanted to do. So that's what a lucid dream is. Have you ever had a lucid dream before?
I think I've had dreams where I realize I'm dreaming, but I don't think I've really done anything with it. It's like, oh wow, you know, I'm dreaming, or like something bad will happen during the dream, and then during the dream I'll be like, you know what, this is just a dream, it's not actually happening, you're fine. But I haven't like basically created my own world in that dream, you know, and take charge. You ever have that? You ever have like a dream where like something really bad happens and you're like, oh no, my life is ruined, or something like that?
Oh yeah.
And then you wake up and you're like, oh thank God.
I've had many dreams where I woke up and said, thank God that was just a dream.
Right. Yeah.
Many.
Yeah.
What about ghosts? Do you believe in ghosts, or do you have any ghost stories, or I should say, do you have any paranormal experiences? Stories.
I mean, I won't go straight up and deny that ghosts don't exist. But I mean, there are like weird things that happen to me. Like, I don't know if this is paranormal, but you ever like do this thing where you're like thinking of a word, and all of a sudden, like you're reading something, you're thinking of a word, and all of a sudden that word just pops up.
I've had that happen a million times.
And it seems to happen like multiple times a day. I'm like, is this like the universe telling me something, or is this just like a crazy coincidence that happens multiple times a day?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that would be a paranormal thing, but it's definitely like maybe like a supernatural like occurrence. I don't know, but
I have it happen with songs.
Yeah, songs too.
I'll be singing a song.
The song will come up, and I'll see the word that person sings. I'm like, what the?
Yeah, weird.
Yeah,
it happens all the time. Have you ever thought of a person that maybe was part of your life like a year ago, and then you're just thinking about that person, and then all of a sudden, boom, you get a text message from them, something like that, or?
I'm sure it's happened before, but I mean, maybe not that like someone has been in my life a while ago, but every once in a while, like I'll think, oh, why, you know, I'll think like about my wife, and then she'll text me, and you're like, whoa, that's weird, you know.
Since you brought up your wife, can I ask you about love?
Sure.
Okay, so what I'd really love to ask Corey is, how did you meet her?
We met the good old 21st century way online. We met on Plenty of Fish, which is something that I never would have thought that I'd meet anybody on. I'd never even had a date with somebody on Plenty of Fish. But, I was looking at her pictures, I was looking at her descriptions, and it's funny, you were talking about Pulp Fiction before, because, obviously, movies are a huge part of my life. So I look at her, biography. It's not even like, it has like a movie section in Plenty of Fish, but in her biography, it listed her favorite movies. And I'm like, oh, okay, movies are really important to her because she has it in her introduction. And she said her favorite movie was Pulp Fiction. And I'm like, oh, shit, that's like my favorite movie too. So I basically led off that conversation with like, hey, looks like we have the same favorite movie or whatever. And we just like hit it off from there. I mean, both from the Northeast, both Jewish. I mean, it's like one of those things. It's like it's not like it definitely helps to have like a shared experience, shared culture. It wasn't like one of my like go no go criteria, but it definitely was important.
Yeah, I think when you are choosing someone who you are considering to be a spouse, you want to be ideologically on the same page. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So, let's say that for Halloween this year, you were invited to a big party, big mansion party, and a lot of people that you know, and people that you would want to impress with a good costume are going to be there, or you'd want to really show up and show out. Any ideas what your Halloween costume for 2022 might be? If money wasn't a factor and you could just go all out.
It's funny to keep going back to this, but Emily and I, my wife Emily,
you're gonna be John Travolta and
Uma Thurman.
Uma Thurman.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's such a good movie, man.
It is.
I didn't really get it the first time I watched it.
Me neither. But I'm like, I don't understand what I'm watching, but it's great.
Magic.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just taking a look at my list of random questions and just thinking about which ones might you enjoy most. And feel free to ask me any, Corey, if any comes to your mind. Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
I don't really have a go-to. As much as I hate to admit it, I can't do the songs that I really like that require the high notes because I'm just going to butcher it.
Yeah.
I like a lot of Journey, which unfortunately requires a lot of high notes. I don't think I really have a go-to. Yeah. What about you? Do you have one?
I have to admit that I just don't really have the personality to do karaoke, but I don't know if that seems...
Is that's a personality?
I don't know. I
feel like you drink enough, then everybody gets the personality.
Fair enough. I've just never enjoyed it, but you know what?
Oh yeah, I mean, most of the times when I've gone to a karaoke bar, I've usually had a few drinks to get out of, like, to lose my inhibition, actually, like, feel comfortable singing terribly in front of other people. I haven't been to that many of them, but they are fun if you're in the right mindset, I guess.
That's a good point. If I were to try again, I'd probably go for a Billy Joel song.
Nice.
Yeah, I think
spoken like a true Long Islander.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
I think I'd go with Downeaster Alexa.
Yeah.
I think I could do it.
Yeah.
I've tried. I've done some shower singing sessions.
Haven't we all?
Yeah. Do you have a scariest moment of your life story?
Scariest moment of my life. I gotta think about that one.
Okay, I know that's diving deep.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably gotta think about that one a little longer.
All right, so here let's change. Let's do a different one then.
Yeah.
If you could travel back to any time in history for one day, what might you want to go see?
Huh.
Another hard one, I know.
Yeah. I'd say maybe D-Day, 1944, June 6th.
You'd
To be on the beach, just, I don't know, it's...
You'd want to witness it.
Witness, definitely witness. Just, I'm just imagine, like, going through the minds of everybody that were on those boats.
Yeah.
Going on to that beach, knowing, like, they were ready for you. They had all their guns pointed at you, and the chances of you getting off that beach are very slim. And I just wanted to be there, just to witness, like, the courage of these people to actually do that. I'm sure I'll have other instances that I can think of, but
it's powerful, Corey.
I mean, yeah, June 6th, that just happened not that long ago, the anniversary, so
it's fresh on your mind.
Yeah.
I feel that. You ever see the music video for The Ghost of You by My Chemical Romance?
No.
Oh, man.
No, I've never seen that.
Oh, you gotta.
Yeah.
And now, when you watch this video, it's gonna probably change the way that you listen to that song.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna change your perception of the song forever. But just based off what you said, you should check out that music video. It's really powerful. Biggest celebrity crush?
Celebrity crush. Hey, you might be getting me in trouble here.
Hey, you're human.
You know who Alexandra Daddario is?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
She was on
Percy Jackson and
Did you see that
Chainsaw Massacre?
Oh, was she in that?
Yeah, there was like a new one years ago.
Did you see that HBO
True Detective?
No,
she was in that too.
There was a show that was on last summer. It was a very short it was like a mini series.
Oh, White Lotus? Is that what it is?
White Lotus.
I never watched. Is that good?
Okay. I'm not gonna say watch it, but it was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Oh, it
was funny, but she's in it.
Oh yeah.
That's all I know. What is a perfect day in the life of Corey Bloom? What does the perfect day look like?
Perfect day. Honestly, sitting at home watching movies with my wife.
Perfect.
Having good food. Takeout,
What kind of food?
For me, it would be like a porterhouse steak. Yeah. Just having that. Yeah, like, honestly, not even having to be at home. Just being like a big movie theater, just my wife and I watching a movie, have like a steak dinner.
I could see you, Corey, in your future decked out mansion, having your own movie theater for all your friends.
Well, my brother and I, we've always had, like, we kept telling each other, like, when we get older, we want to open a movie theater. Like,
That'd be
one of those
awesome.
old school movie houses with, like, the marquee and everything, but they would also serve you food there. You know, obviously, like, it's something they do now, but it'd just be a whole experience. Call it dinner and a movie.
I love it.
Simple, straight to the point, but just give you that old school movie house feel with a little modern flourish of, like, getting served food while you do it.
Yeah.
So, but don't make it, like, distracting, you know?
Mm.
And it wouldn't just be new movies, it'd be, like, classic movies, like, that's another thing, it's like, they don't play, like, once the movie goes, like, out of theaters, like, very rarely will they ever bring it back unless it's, like, a classic movie and it's only for, like, a few days.
Right.
Like, you go home and watch it. Granted, like, the TVs are a lot bigger now, but there's just something about being in the theater, the smell of popcorn, like, the sound of the acoustics, the big screen.
I agree. Like, why not have at least one day out of the week to be, like, retro day?
Yeah.
You know, okay, Thursday
Yeah.
is going to be, we're going to take a break from the current box office releases.
Yeah.
And we're going to play hits from the cult
Films
favorites from the 70s
yeah.
that everyone loves. Because, of course, people are going to want to watch them. People are
Yeah.
going to want to come back and see the things that they have nostalgia for.
Yeah. Like,
I completely agree. Doesn't that make sense?
yeah. A few months ago, Emily and I went to go to see Raiders of the Lost Ark in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, obviously I wasn't alive when that came out, you know, the first time in theaters, so it was really cool seeing that on the big screen. So I just wish they did that more often. But that's what I would do with my brother. Definitely a retirement goal.
Favorite place that you've traveled to so far?
Favorite place? Admittedly, I haven't been to that many. Why is beautiful? I'd say Israel. Yeah.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just something about being in like, you know, us growing up. Not more people than not were, you know, not Jewish. Just being in a place where, like, not everybody, but the majority have the same, you know, culture and this unspoken, like, shared experience. You can't really describe it. And it was just something about being there. It just felt so surreal.
Yeah, like when I got off the plane, the first time I went, they said, "Welcome home."
Yeah.
You know, and then you realize that pretty much everyone around you, at least 90% of the people around you are also Jewish.
Yeah.
It's a pretty surreal feeling.
Yeah, I remember I went out in town for, like, the nightlife in Jerusalem, which surprisingly has a pretty big nightclub scene in Jerusalem. But I had the Star, you know, was showing, and everybody kept coming up to me and, like, giving me high fives and, like, commenting on how cool that was, and it's like, where am I right now? Like,
Yeah.
it's like I never would have gotten that anywhere else, you know. I just get, like, looks. I get stared at, you know.
Yeah.
What about you? Oh, you said Israel, right? Yeah.
I would say my favorite trip that I've ever done so far was Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, parts of the Caribbean
Yeah.
I love as well. I really like Key West.
Yeah.
Parts of Alaska.
Ooh, I've always wanted to go to Alaska. That would be amazing.
Yeah, so I did a cruise where we went to Juneau, Ketchikan, and we also went to this town called Sitka.
Mm.
And Sitka was my favorite. Basically, it was this harbor village consisting of all these mini micro islands, right? Like hundreds of little islands. And a big thing that they tout there is their sea otter watching. And that's what we did when we went there. We did a sea otter excursion. And there was just something about the mist, the fog.
Yeah.
There was just a magic to the place, and it really captivated me. And Sedona, Arizona, it's another spot that really grabbed a hold of me. And yeah, I think those are my favorites so far.
Yeah, I definitely want to do more traveling.
Where would you go next if you had the chance?
I want to go to New Zealand.
Yeah?
Yeah, because, Hawaii being closer to New Zealand than Jersey is, so I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. That's the Lord of the Rings geek in me.
Oh, you'd go to the Hobbit.
Yeah. Hobbiton.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Shire. Yeah, no, because watching that movie, you just see the landscapes. Like, this is amazing. Like, this is one island.
Yeah.
As everything on one island, every different landscape you can think of is all on the same island.
Yeah. You love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I said Pulp Fiction before. I would say Lord of the Rings is probably my favorite movie. Like, I consider them all like one movie.
It's series.
It's series.
Yeah.
But if I would say, like...
Saga.
Yeah, the Saga, like, that would be my favorite because not only is I love the movie, it's just... It holds a special place in my heart, my life. Because of the time that it came out, my age, and happening soon after 9/11, and with where I was in life, like just moving to New Jersey, leaving Florida, and my dad.
Do you resonate with Frodo?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely resonate with even the smallest person can change the course of the future.
Yeah.
Like that thing. Like,
yeah, it's a beautiful message.
Yeah.
The whole story.
Yeah. So it's like, like just the hobbits in general, like just because you may be small in stature, but you still have a lot to contribute, and you can change the world if you so choose to actually, put your best foot forward and actually, be determined to do that. So it was a great message, especially right after 9/11 happening, having that world to escape to, and like the
Did you read the books?
I did at a young age, really young, like right after the movies came, like during the movies coming out. I was like 9 years old, so I didn't really understand them that much because at my reading level, Lord of the Rings was a little advanced.
Yeah.
The Hobbit was more of a children's book, so that was a little below my reading level, but it was like Lord of the Rings was just a little bit higher. So I remember like the big thing was that I read The Two Towers first after Fellowship came out. And I thought it was so cool in my class because I found out that Gandalf was still alive. And, and nobody else knew that, so I thought I was like keeping the secret, close. Like, I know that and you don't,
Yeah.
So, I read it. I'm currently reading them again. I'm listening to the audiobooks right now.
Cool.
Yeah, they're really good.
I just recently rewatched the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you team Legolas or team Aragorn?
I'd say Aragorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Me too.
Yeah.
What a badass.
Yeah.
Corey, we are coming up on 50 minutes. Let's go ahead and conclude.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to get some food pretty soon. Corey, man, what can I say? Super grateful that you're in my life. Super grateful that we met. I don't even want to think how many years ago that is, but
probably like
back in
11,
2000,
12 years ago.
Back in 2011, 2012,
11.
around there. Thank you for existing. Thank you for being you. And thank you for being my friend, man. Thank you for coming on my podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. If we could do this again soon.
Absolutely, man. You're more than welcome to come back on again as a guest. Hopefully, when that day comes, I will have all the kinks ironed out and, won't have any more equipment snafus. And
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Rome was not built in a day.
Yeah.
And probably the podcast is going to have art. It's going to have hanging tapestries, hanging backgrounds, if you will, and it's probably going to have a whole different look and feel. But yeah, man, looking forward to that day. So again, Corey, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.